I started to realize as I got involved with business and I had all the time somebody trying to use me and take advantage of me, I started to understand it. I'm like, you start to want to get this shield up and kind of protect yourself. But I vowed that I would never allow that, because the day that I allow that, I got to get out of the industry. I can't allow it to ruin who I am.
What's up, guys? How's it going? This is Sean French with another episode of the podcast, The Determined Society. I'm really excited. I have a special guest today. Before I get going on that, though, I'd like to ask you guys, if you guys please, you enjoy the show. If you get something out of what I say or my guest says, please share the show. That's how I'm growing right now. Just like our good friend Andy Frisella, I do not run ads. So how I'm growing is how you're sending my message along. But today I have an awesome guest. I like to think all my guests are really awesome because they are. But this woman, to me, is a true self-made entrepreneur. She's a model. She's a fitness pro. She is a First Form sponsored athlete, and she also has a sponsorship with Angst Arms. It's a gun brand, and she actually also has a brand new gun store called Lobo's Defense, and that's just launching. And I'm super excited to have my new friend Gia Macool on the show. What's going on, Gia?
Hey, thank you so much. You're so kind. Oh, that was so amazing what you said. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. It was distracting because you have Marilyn Monroe in your background, and it's like a life-size version of her.
Yeah, there's a story behind that painting. That's actually my father and my brothers. They had a little bit of they love Marilyn, and they passed away recently. So it was one of the things I inherited that keep me kind of close to my dad and my brother. So.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Marilyn Monroe, big icon. A lot of the dudes loved her back in the day. Beautiful and intelligent woman. But I love the story behind it. It's really cool that you're able to have that piece, that painting in your office to keep your loved ones close to you. It's really awesome.
It is.
Cool. Couple fun questions before we start. All right. So since you're a First Form sponsored athlete, you obviously love their products, as so do I, because you called me out on my hat and my shaker before we started the show. I promise it wasn't intentional. Guys, if you're listening, I told Gia I just had a really shitty haircut, and this was the closest hat to me in the First Form shaker. Well, it's sick. I'm not going to drink water out of anything else. So the viewers, you're going to have to deal with it. But so getting back to it, what is your favorite level 1 protein flavor?
The cinnamon cookie batter.
That's a good one. That is a really good one. Yeah, I saw a YouTube video that you did with the Summer Smash strawberry cheesecake or something like that.
Yeah, so they're all good. Every single one of them has a purpose. So I have to have them at least three to four flavors, just because I use them for different things. But as a universal flavor, that's the one that will you can do for everything, along with the chocolate and also the ice cream sandwich. You can do for anything. But then all your strawberry, that's if you want to just make different things. But I love level 1. It's probably one of the best proteins I've ever had.
It's really cool because it's so dynamic in flavor that you can make protein French toast with it. You can do a lot of, I saw a post the other day from this dude, Ryan. He made this cinnamon roll concoction, and it was incredible. So I think my favorite is chocolate banana.
Oh, I haven't tried that one yet.
It's good.
Yeah, they all are amazing. I mean, out of all the things I've ever tried, what I like about it is just it's easy to mix. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I don't have time to bring everything, so I just put some level 1 in a Ziploc, and I literally can take a spoon and put it straight into water with a spoon, and it will blend nicely. It's not like anything I've never tried. So
I've never had any of them clump up or anything like that. Just in a normal shaker. It's pretty cool. So there's the plug for level 1 in First Form, guys. So go buy your protein. Fun question now. Do you have any hidden talents?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that I like to sing. Um, I actually I've been going in back and forth to the recording studio and just playing around for years. I'm actually working on a song release soon. I'm just waiting for I have a hook in this release. So the main singer, I'm waiting for him to come back into town to finish it up. And I also like art. So I used to actually sell my paintings, and I did abstract art and oil paintings.
That's awesome. That's really cool. If you were out at a karaoke bar, what would you be singing?
So I love Seven Nation Army.
Okay.
Share songs. I like acoustic guitar. So anything with acoustic.
So like Jack Johnson.
Yeah. Some of the like older songs, I miss the stories that older songs, like our 80s and our 90s used to tell stories. I miss that,
My wife's the same way. So when we're going on a road trip, she'll throw in all her 80s music. And if I'm driving, I'm like, listen, this stuff's going to put me to sleep. She goes, no, but the messages are amazing. I'm like, you're right. Because now like music isn't the same. And so I can relate to that. I think you and my wife would get along, and definitely in your music taste so far. So that's cool. So it's funny because last time I asked a guest what they would be singing in karaoke, it was my friend Christy back in the day, and she said "Baby Got Back." So this one's a little bit of a different. This one's a little bit of a different feel.
Yeah, that's a fun vibe. I'm more of like, I like to have like moral to the stories. I don't know.
It's funny because that actually leads into how I kind of found you. To be perfectly honest, like I came across a podcast that you were on, maybe J.R. Rice or something like that. And you were talking about, his question was, what was it, or what has been replaced that you wish would come back? And you talked about kind of just in person and, really dialing into the work and not wanting that instant gratification. And so I came across that and I thought that was really insightful. And then just all of your messages had so much impact. I'm like, dude, I got to reach out to Gia. Like it was amazing. So, have you always, what's that?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm jacked to have you on. And to connect with you and to have this cool conversation. So just giving a little bit of the background of how we connected for the audience that obviously doesn't know. But guys, whatever you're putting out there and the messages that you're sending, people are seeing, whether they respond to you or not, whether they message you. But just know that you're only seeing about 10% of the impact that you're making on people. Yeah. So reach out to people, let them know that they're making an impact, because I don't care who they are. We all like to hear it. So
I think people are they pay attention too much to like overall numbers, and they need to just concentrate on just getting your message out. And even if that's just one person that your message was received, that's actually what matters, because it's not about everybody hearing it, because everybody could hear your message, but not actually take it to heart or let it really lead them into action. And what is information without it being applied? So
that's funny, because that was the second post you got hit up on DM, and you displayed it on a post about somebody asking you if you wanted to buy followers. And it was just really cool. So that's the other thing. You talk about people pay attention to total numbers because, the vanity metrics and things like that. I think, maybe all of us at one point when we first start out, we get caught up in that, but then realize, okay, this is the long play here. How can you build a solid foundation of a community, not followers, but a community that truly can appreciate what you have to say. And sometimes they may not take action on their page, but they're taking action in their life, and that's even more important.
I think what is happening to the industry is that people are monetizing the fact that they can make you famous. And I think that is something that is really disadvantage, because instead of saying, well, I can help you get famous and I'll help you get known and I'll do this content and all you have to do is pay me a check. That's what people are doing now. So it's giving a really bad false expectation to all these new people who are going about it in the wrong way, because now they're letting other people kind of tell them how to brand themselves, and they're telling them how to shoot and what content to put out based simply off of getting attention instead of what their actual overall long-term outlook is and goals.
That's a great point, because if you do that, I guess, adhere to what somebody's saying, like, hey, this is what your brand should be, like, hey, Sean, or hey, Gia, this is what we should shoot. This is how we should shoot it. This is what I want you to say. You're not creating an authentic community, right? Because they're following a character, right? And that's why I always try to be, good or bad, like, this is me, this is my brand, this is how I'm going to show up, right? And I think it's super important to do that.
And I think you turn on social media today and you say, oh my God, like that could be like, you see the same pose, the same look, it's like Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just keeps repeating itself. And you're like, where is the creativity? Where is the passion? Where is the message? Why is everything getting lost? Because everybody's just kind of following each other, because this is what other people are saying. I can monetize and I can make money if you do this. And this is happening like with photographers, with anybody who's trying to make a business by using somebody else and getting a paycheck. So I get mad sometimes because I'm like, all these girls don't see it, but they're putting out what other people are telling them to put out instead of really what they want. And they don't realize what they actually want until down the road. And it's sometimes too late.
It's interesting because, to piggyback off of what you're just saying, where everybody's following each other, right? And specifically, they see a trend, right? Like a real trend or a background music trend. Background music trend's fine, but when you're going out there and you're just recreating trends and getting followers, right? Your community's growing great. You can have a viral reel, and you have a bunch of people that came to your community based on a reel that's not even your brand. So now you're going to lose them, because once they figure out that's not who you are, then you're rebuilding again.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to not just to grow your community, but to grow your community with people that know what the hell they're going to get when they get there. Right. I just think it's super impactful. So, wow. Yeah. Good stuff. So walk us through where you're at today, just kind of share your story, how you got here and all that good stuff. Cause you have a lot of amazing things that you've done in the past that are still doing that have shaped who you are today.
Started in 2009 professionally. So I started way before that. I was doing modeling at the age of 13, but in 2009 was actually the time that I started getting published. Mm-hmm. and I started actually doing jobs where I was getting like it made it into a career. So since then, got into fitness, got my pro card, and then I just started doing public speaking, my YouTube channel. At one point I had a swimwear line. And so I've just been a very creative, I'm passionate. I like to do what I love and make a living at it. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that anybody can do that. They just have to kind of find their own.
I agree. So you started modeling when you were 13?
I started doing classes and go-sees and all the stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah. So how did that impact what you're doing today? Because you're very out in the open as far as your brand. Do you feel like your modeling days prepared you to who you are as an entrepreneur and influencer?
So one of the downsides to being online is you can't be a private person. Mm-hmm. Even if you wanted to be a private person, I think that people kind of misunderstand that, and they see it like, oh, you're all out there and mm-hmm. I couldn't do that. Sometimes you don't even ask for those things. Sometimes you want to be a private person. Maybe you don't want to be, known like that. But mm-hmm. once you go online, Google is a monster. And sometimes that's just, like everybody says, there's positive things and negative things, right? So there's good things and bad things. The bad thing in my case is you can't be, you're out there. Mm-hmm. I can't control people's perception of me.
Right.
You just have to continue to go forward with what you're doing. You're gonna fuck up. That's just part of it. You're a human being. People want to put you on a pedestal. They want to act like you can't make any mistakes. And then if you make a mistake, they want to bash you for it. It's not fair. We're humans, but you just, you go out there, you do what you love, you put out what you love. People are either going to hate you or they're going to love you, and you can't control that.
No, you can't control that. I recently had someone, kind of come at me recently, and it shook me. It shook me because that person doesn't know who the fuck I am. Right. But it's like people forget that there's human beings on the other side of this Instagram screen or Twitter or YouTube, whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, it's a complete dehumanization. Like no one thinks anybody's human. And what we found is, and I found this in my early journey in my venture that what I have right now, is you see people, right, on Instagram, or just they're out there in the world and everybody knows who the hell they are. All, they're the who's of the world. And then when you talk to them, it's like, that guy's an asshole. Like, but what happens is you talked about expectations, right? You talk, it's like, we all expect to see this person that is on a grid. And that's not the way it is. Like, it's a highlight reel. It's like, okay, this is the best version of myself I'm putting out there right now. Here's my mind. Take a peek behind the curtain a little bit. Here's what I'm really about. But the reality is we all have our shit, right?
Exactly.
We all have our relationships, our marriages, our friendships, and we make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
No one's perfect. I think that's a funny point because, people don't see it that way. No. And it's interesting.
They're never going to see it. They're never going to understand it. They're not in our shoes. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, the majority of them want to act like they don't want to be in your shoes, but then, they kind of want to know, well, how come you got this opportunity, or how come you got that opportunity? So they hate on you for the opportunities that came your way for the shit that you had to put up with to get there, So it's just, it's something like they're never going to understand. They're not in your shoes. They're going to have their viewpoint. That's why you can't really listen to opinions, because if you do that, it will literally destroy you. It will take you off your focus. You have to have tunnel vision.
It's so funny because for like a day or two, it really shook me, right? It shook me a little bit. And I was just kind of like very introspective. I'm like, and I started questioning. I'm like, no. This is the first of many. Okay. Yeah. You cannot do this. This is the first of many. Doesn't know who you are. Who gives a shit? Who gives a flying fuck what this person thinks? And it's funny because Mark is like, oh, I told you, like, who cares? But sometimes it's for me. Again, I told you she's smarter than me. Like for me, it takes a couple, maybe 18 hours, 24 hours to really kind of let it go in my mind. And then what I do, and this is my trigger, and I don't know how you deal with things. I'm open to hear about it. But when things like that happen to me, the only way I can really kind of just kind of clear it out is to get hyper focused on what I know I need to do.
Right.
Dial back in.
I studied psychology a lot in school. So you have to understand that if somebody truly doesn't like you, if they deep down inside don't like you, they're not going to be visiting your page. They're not going to be checking out what you're putting out. They're not even going to be listening to what you're doing. They just pass right by you. They're not going to be following you. Yeah. So if they take the time to really go to your page, check up what you're doing, then write a message to you, then write a message to your other followers. And they're confused fans. That's what they are. Confused fans. And they want to be heard. And it has a lot to do with their upbringing. Their upbringing has always been, they got used to being bullied, as a child. They got used to being put down. So that's all they know how to repeat. They're repeating a toxic cycle.
It's funny because my wife and I were having this conversation the other day, and it's something I fully believe, but when you're in the moment, it's really hard to kind of just see what it really is. And it's really about triggers, right? It's not about me or you. It's something that happened or we might have posted that may have triggered something that for them that was down, but in the past, and it just ignites a fire, and then we're the receiving end of it. So we have to be super aware of the fact that, someone's reaction to us is not about us. It's 100% them.
Yeah. There's 3 reasons why somebody would follow you. You're relatable. They can use you. Mm-hmm. Or there's something in you that they can relate to, in the sense of like something you said, they're projecting it onto themselves.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of like see everything that you do like that, it'll help you.
No, that's good advice, because it was one of those things where it was just like, okay, this is the first one, and it was intense.
I've always left it in my highlights, like little quotes like that, like people will love and hate you and it'll have nothing to do with you, because the truth of the matter is they're not really, the majority of people following you really don't think about you. If once you understand you're not in their head space, they're not really thinking about you. It's just whatever you're doing for X, Y reason is either relatable or they can use you somehow, some way. So once you realize that, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to enjoy life.
Yeah, I think too, like, I think you just get just a more authentic reach that way, you know? And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, well, have you tried this? Because this person's doing this and that person's doing that. I'm like, no, I mean, like, fuck no, because that's not who I am. Like,
well, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Just understand this. As long as you can build relationships online with people, genuine relationships, and, you know, not about, you should never approach any situation with like, what can I get from them? What can I use for? Because then you're going to end up fucking up the relationship. Go into it like, hey, I like this person. Let me work with them. Let me, you know, see how they are. If it's a great relationship, great. If they don't like me, move on. I appreciate you giving me the chance, and you move on, you know?
It's like any other relationship, but I feel like what's happened is, and this is going down a completely different road, but hey, like I said, it's a free conversation. Because I think people need to hear this too. Right. And I truly feel like conversations go in the direction that they're supposed to go in. And the biggest thing though, right there is just like you said, people are engaging with people on social media. Not everybody, but a lot of times, because as a small of a page as I have, I get people trying to follow and leverage my ass all the time. And it's just like, I read it, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a person. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, let's have a conversation. But you can, it's really weird because sometimes you can feel like, you know, you might have felt that way when I messaged you, but you have this immediate, okay, I got this message. It seems cool. Seems like a genuine person. But then like, after like 2 or 3 exchanges, it goes down like this weird road.
Because I think like it's hard. It's impersonal on a device, right?
Right.
So, and I mean, let's be real. The majority of people that are on social media that are normal people, not crazy, they're there to leverage and use it as a tool for their business. There's 2 types, right? There's people that are leveraging it for their business. And then there's some people that are just like sitting around just trying to entertain themselves. The ones who are sitting around trying to entertain themselves, they don't want to learn. They don't want to be educated. You know, they're there just to like be entertained. Like this is a TV. So yeah, it can be tough. Like you have constantly, I used to say back when I first started, I'd be like, why am I meeting all these models who have such foul personalities? They're not humble. They're not like, why are these people all the same? But then I started to realize as I got involved with the business and I had all the time somebody trying to use me and take advantage of me, I started to understand it. I'm like, you start to want to get this shield up and kind of protect yourself. But I vowed that I would never allow that, because the day that I allow that, I got to get out of the industry. I can't allow it to ruin who I am, you know? And
that's the one thing that I enjoyed about you is when I reached out to you, like, I didn't really think that you would even get the message, to be quite honest, you know, because I thought I might've gone into like the request box or whatever. I'm like, she's never going to see this shit, but like, hey,
no, here's the thing. Like, I don't believe that bullshit when they say I don't read my messages or I have a manager. I don't believe that. Like, I have had my management help me out sometimes if I'm traveling or I'm not in the States. They've helped me out here or there. But for the most part, I'm very hands-on with everything I do. And so do you have to protect yourself, you know, by screening and making sure you don't respond to the wrong people? Yes. But do you have to be cold and impersonal to somebody who comes at you in a professional, nice way? No, absolutely not. And anybody who uses it as an excuse, piece of shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just...
I'm with you. I'm with you. And that's it's just one of those things that just so you know, I appreciated that. Right. Because of that, we have a new friendship, right? We have a new connection. Right. And there was no ego involved. And that sometimes I feel like there's a lot of ego involved. Right. I've asked people to come on podcasts who had a really good message and that my audience would really enjoy. Like, sorry, dude, you're not big enough yet. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, that's cool. That's cool. But when I explode, don't think for 1 second.
The thing is like, at what point are we going to realize that we are not celebrities? Where is this? Let's talk about the real celebrity. The real celebrities are doing things like I don't know where these people get because they have 10 million or 12 million. Like, I'm a real celebrity. No. Like, even real celebrities are humble and nice.
Yeah. Dude.
I don't get the mentality.
That's the funniest thing, dude, because like, I always tell this story and it's so funny that you said real celebrities are actually nice. Dude, I live in Florida, in Southwest Florida, right? And I'm at a older city, like very populated city, probably about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And I'm on the phone with my buddy and I'm walking through Publix, right? And I'm in the produce section and I say, dude, holy shit. He's like, what's up? I go, it's fucking Jennifer Gardner over there. I was like, well, it looks like Jennifer Gardner. It could be Jennifer Gardner. He's like, bro, I know where you live. That's not Jennifer Gardner. I'm like, okay, you're probably right. So I cross this girl's path like 2 or 3 more times. And I go, Dan, I gotta go. That's definitely Jennifer Gardner. And so I'm texting my wife. I'm like, baby, I think Jennifer Gardner is at Publix. She goes, you're insane. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you right now. So finally I go up to, I actually went up to her. This person that I thought was Jennifer Gardner. I said, excuse me. I was like, I have a question to ask you. You've probably been asked like 1,000 times in this store, but are you Jennifer Gardner? She goes, I am. How are you? What's your name? I'm like, my name is Sean French. She goes, so it's so nice to meet you. I'm here with my grandma. Thank you for saying hi. And I'm like, hey, no problem. She goes, do you live around here? I'm like, yeah, down the street. She was super kind. And she's one of the bigger celebrities on the planet. But yet, you know, somebody with 147,000 Instagram followers can turn into a dick in a heartbeat because the computer screen says he's cool. I don't get it.
This is what I'm saying. Like, it goes back to the old adage. If you are acting like you have money, you don't have money. If you are acting like you're famous, you're not famous. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to do this like, if you're secure as a person, you know what you have. There should be no threat to how the way you treat people says a lot about you. And I've always stayed firm to that. And that is one of the reasons why I believe that I have stayed as long as I have in the industry, because I think people come and go in this industry, you know, and over a decade, I'm still, if not, I think where I'm at right now is at a better point than where I was before. So.
I mean, it's the personality, right? It's the respect you have for another human being. And like my wife and one of my good friends always says is, nobody will ever care how much you know or what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
You know, we tell our children that constantly, right? Especially our middle child. She can get squirrely. She's a 5-year-old. She's a 5-year-old bombshell, and our 3-year-old's no different. But
that's a fun age. It's a fun age.
You know, we have 3. We have an 8-year-old boy, 5-year-old girl, and a 3-year-old girl, and they're handsome and beautiful, intelligent and talented. And I tell you what, though, the girls stretch me in ways, Gia, that I never thought I'd be stretched. Like,
I always said, I was like, girls are they're not gonna, like, boys will go behind your back. Like, you tell them something, they'll go behind your back and they'll do it anyway. Girls will be like, right in your face. Hell no. And then they'll literally live up to that. So they're harder in the face, but they at least are not afraid to, like, say it. When boys are like, okay, sure. And then behind your back.
It's funny because the 3-year-old Mia, she's in your face, batshit crazy. Right. But I mean, she's so sweet and beautiful. I just like she is. Crazy,
she's so sweet.
It's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, she's trying to rip down the Easter basket from the counter at 6:00 this morning, asking for candy. like, that's the kind of crazy I deal with after I get back from the gym. It's like, well, I was all zenned out, but now I'm a neurotic mess.
That's just kids. I literally have helped raise 42 children total.
42 children? How does that work out?
I'm an adoptive mother. I adopt. Okay. And also I have helped several friends and family with their kids. So
wait, that's amazing. So you adopt children, or is it a foster situation?
I actually adopted my son. He was 1.5 when his mom abandoned him. And now he's grown and out of the house. He's,
that's amazing.
Staying in college, but yeah. So
I didn't know that. That's incredible. That is incredible.
A lot of people don't know a lot of things about me. They see they see my pictures, these glamorous pictures, and they're kind of like, oh, she's like all the girls out there, that's what the media will do. The media, they make these beautiful pictures, but you don't know the people behind them. So never ever judge.
Can I ask you a couple questions about that? Like, how does that make you feel as a person? Like, because yes, you can go back and look at all these amazing photos of Gia, and, people will look at those photos and they'll comment just on the physical part of you, but that's only like 1% of you, right? There's different layers to you. And so how
they will say a lot of things that they would never say to your face. And if they were in your face, you'd get a chance to punch them. So
you're a badass, dude. They probably won't want to say that to you. You probably have one of those straps on your leg.
No, I have a 9mm. I've been dying to try out. So I would love for them to come by. Just be wonderful.
You heard it, guys. Lobo Defense, brand new 9, ready to roll. That's funny. Oh man. Let me ask you a question. What are the top 3 lessons you've taken from your life experiences and kind of brought them into your entrepreneurship and all your businesses?
Elaborate again on that. So what do you mean?
So things that you learned just along the way, whether it's a lesson you learned from a parent or the modeling industry, how has that impacted how you run your business?
Okay. So, getting started, I didn't necessarily in the beginning take charge and control over my image and my brand. I allowed other people, photographers included, to kind of tell me what I should do. And that was a huge failure on my part, huge mistake. I have to live with those mistakes. I have pictures out there that I am not too proud of because I allowed the photographer to direct those pictures. But going forward, when I took complete control over my image and how I did things, I start understanding that it's a business. It's a business in the sense of, everything you do has to be done just like any other business. I don't care if you're running a gun store or you're running a car lot or you have a gym. It's the same processes. You have to be organized. You have to be on time. You have to be professional. You have to be courteous. You have to be honest. You have to be trusted by your client. And the image that goes into that is just as important. How you look online is the type of people that you're going to bring, the clients that you're going to bring. So, everything that I do on a daily basis has helped me get up to this point where when I can have my own businesses and have investments, because it all kind of falls into play.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because again, we're going with the authenticity, right? That in the early stages of your career, you were being swayed by somebody who was supposed to know and have your best interest in mind. And they put things out there that you weren't necessarily okay with. And to this day, you're like, hey, there's some pictures out there of me that I really don't like. That's not who I am. And people have casted an opinion probably based on those pictures, in the modeling industry.
Started out with the bathing suits, for instance. So I actually sewed my suits from scratch. Everything was by hand. So I customized competition, like your IFBB bodybuilding suits. And I also did modeling the tiny, itty bitty, tiny bikinis. So in the beginning, the photographers were like, yeah, this is great. Put this on. But see, if I had known what I know now, I would have realized that that is going to attract a certain type of clientele. Normal girls, mainstream girls aren't going to wear those things.
Yeah.
So I did it because, I was like, oh, I'm promoting my brand. I need photos. I need content. And the photographer's like, yeah, wear that. Little did I know that it was going to attract these type of predatory people. And then from there, content got stolen and things, my computer was hacked. People stole stuff, start putting it out there and they make a business off of this. They literally make a business selling you, and that's how they do it, and it's a real there's a dark side that I didn't know, that I was very naive to knowing, and I had to learn. So.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up thing, because I saw you write something or publish something based on the modeling industry and how dark it can be, the dark side of the modeling industry, of stealing pictures and selling them, and all of a sudden you're in fucking publications that you didn't even know you're going to be a part of.
Right.
And that, again,
you're not compensated. You didn't ask to be branded this way. This is not who you are. This is not, they're making you out to be something and they're making money off of that. And you didn't get a single penny, it's sad that these people live in their mom's basement. They have no lives. They're, it's like a boat in the middle of the ocean, and there's a hole, and the hole is them, leaking your content, and you're trying to get rid of it, and they just keep you're going to sink, so you have to get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to let these people are going to find a new girl, and there's a new girl that turns 18 every day, and they're just going to keep on doing this to every girl. And until women understand that if you want to have a business and you want to have financial freedom, you got to be really, really careful about your image. I mean, super hyper paranoid about your image. And you can't let anybody tell you anything. You have to, it's not about, oh, I can post it and just keep it for me. No, you can't even do it. Just don't do it at all, because there are people out there that will target you. If they see dollar signs on you, they'll target you.
That's just wrong, man. It's just wrong. Have you ever thought about being like an image consultant for young models that come into the industry and truly coach them on how to be strong-willed and stick to their guns on how they want to be branded and what type of images they want out there?
Well, if I find the right people to collaborate with so that the message is delivered properly, because here's another issue that we don't talk about online. People don't want to hear the dark side. People don't want to hear the truth, because a lot of times they've never experienced it themselves, so they don't really believe it. And the ones that know it exists are the predatory people. So they'll try to dig and keep it hidden by creating a narrative that they can control. And they'll try to discredit you and make you out to be like you're lying, because they want to keep the lie alive. Because why? They make money off of that. So, you're dealing with a small percentage of girls who's experienced it. You're dealing with those who are trying to create a narrative so they can keep monetizing off of you. And then the majority of the masses don't even want to hear the truth because it's so dark. It's something they'll never experience, and they don't even understand. You hear all these celebrities and models who were targeted and leaked this and leaked that, right? But you also see the masses of messages all blaming her instead of seeing the predatory behavior. So they'll just continue to do the same thing because there's no accountability for any action.
That's just so interesting. And I would imagine too, these young girls getting into the industry, they don't want to know about it, not just because they haven't seen it or never will experience it. They probably don't want to know about it because they don't want to have the idea or know that the industry that they want to be in is rotten in so many ways.
They don't want to believe it's going to happen to them.
Right.
And I have actually had girls that I have messaged saying, hey, look, you need to be careful. This is happening to your content. And they will be like, yeah. Thank you so much. And tomorrow they're releasing new content and the same thing's happening. And I'm like, didn't I just warn you? They want to believe in that this is going to take them somewhere on a golden brick road. And they want to believe there's a knight in white shining armor on a horse. It's going to like give them all their dreams. And it's this whole unrealistic rose-colored glass. So yeah, your message falls to deaf ears most of the time.
Unbelievable. I want to switch gears because I know we don't have all day and we're running up on time. I want you to share a little bit about Lobos Defense. You and your husband created a business called Lobos Defense Gun Store. Chat with us about that.
So I have a few sponsorships. One of them is Angsted Arms. I'm going to be actually doing a huge shoot with them this weekend. So we're going out to the range and we're going to be doing some really cool stuff. I love their firearms. They started in 2014 and they are one of the few firearms that take Glock mags, which is really, really cool. So I'm really looking forward to it because I'm going to be working with them. We're going to be doing some custom firearms and tactical weapons. And then we have a store as well. So that'll be launching as soon as the pictures come back from this shoot, we'll be doing the launch for that.
Nice. So when's your store actually open?
It's already open.
Oh, it is open. Okay.
Yeah, we've actually been working on it for over 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's something that, these things take time. They're not something that, everybody can do. It takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of work. But so it's more of just introducing it into the media now because we've been doing it for small clients here and there. But now we're just going to be letting it, be available for the masses.
Well, obviously, when you do, please share it with me so I can share it with my people. I want to bring awareness to your brand and your husband's brand. He is a Special Forces veteran.
Yes.
So I think it's important to support veterans and people that are doing good things out in the world. So
Absolutely.
Imagine a year down the road from now, right? We're sitting down again in a year chatting. What are we celebrating?
You mean a year ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, so a year ahead we'd be, depending on where you're going in a year. What's your goals? Tell me what you're up to.
Oh, I just meant specifically for you, but where I'm going, listen, I'm looking to get 1 million downloads. I want to be 1 million strong on my listener base, helping corporate clients achieve success through their sales force by driving accountability and sales tools with high performing habits. I want to work with athletes all across the world. I want to be speaking across the world. That's where I'm going. Right. That's my goal. I see it very clearly. And, we just got to focus on the process and not look at the scoreboard for right now.
So a year from now, we'd be doing a toast, a salute to just following our dreams, following our goals and actually achieving them. Because I think that there's no one end goal, right? It's always like all these little steps that you write out because I journal a lot and it's like every day I'm doing one of them. And then when you look at the big picture, it's coming alive.
I think it's super important for everybody listening that the finish line is never a finish line. It is a checkpoint. And as soon as you get through one wall, you go through another wall and another and another and another. And the one toxic thing that I want you guys to be very, very aware of is when the people come up to you and ask you, aren't you happy with what you've accomplished? You should be happy with where you're at because you've done X, Y, and Z. Just because high achieving people continue to push doesn't make us ungrateful. Makes us fucking alive.
Exactly.
Different checkpoint.
We're our own worst critics and we have a tendency to not really look back and look at the past. So that's good because it keeps us moving with new stuff. But then we never really sit back and go, wow, we really accomplished all these things, right? So sometimes you do need your wife, for instance, or my husband to go, hey, no, look, you accomplished all of this, because we're always like, next.
Yeah. The next thing. And then you don't focus on the win long enough and and you bolt off. Right. So no, I fully believe in that as well. Really relishing in the win and then moving on, not moving on and forgetting about the win, but like, hey, there's more to do. I'm going to make sure I put all your links in the show notes because I want all my listeners to know where to find you, your website, all that kind of stuff. Gia has a lot of great things that she's doing, guys, a great message. So make sure you hit the follow button on all of her platforms that I'm going to post in the show notes, and go to her website that I'll also put in the show notes for her new store. Buy some shit, support her, shout her out, because her and her husband are doing amazing things. And Gia, if you don't mind to hang out for a little bit here after I hit stop. But listen, guys, I hope you all got a lot out of this episode. I truly did. It was probably one of my more fun episodes to have someone so awesome on and so open and kind. So with that being said, guys, please share the show, and I'll see you next time.